Hey guys, so welcome. Again, we're going to take just a couple of minutes to get people to join the live stream if they want to. All right, so just please be patient with me. I'll also be inviting some people to join in if they have the time and inclination. Hey Deborah, hey Amy. How's it going? Hi Barb. August, good to see you. Sammy, welcome. Good to see you. All right, so again, we'll get started in just a moment. I want to give people a couple of minutes, a few minutes to sign in if they want. Hey August, good to see you. Today we're learning pretty much the final, what I would consider the final stage of alternate nostril breathing. And we'll get into the details, but this is, you do this at your own risk. It's an advanced practice. The basic practice, which we covered a few weeks ago, is generally considered completely safe. Okay, great. Sammy, I don't know, maybe you got to run in a bit to teach or something, but anyway, the basic version of this, which is on the Patreon page, if you want to see it. It's also floating around somewhere here on Facebook, but I find the Facebook organization, it's a little harder to find what you're looking for. On the Patreon page, everything is titled and it's dated and stuff like that. So anyway, I would go there for these tutorials. So this is just a kind of like a brief tutorial on the most advanced version of alternate nostril breathing. So again, we're just waiting for people to sign in if they want to join us. Just a couple of minutes here. If you guys have any questions for me, put them in the chat there, and I might be able to answer them. I may not get to them, and so then I'll try and answer them after the session is done, or you can send me a note if I don't get it to it. Hi Sibley, good to see you. Let's see here. Maybe we should get started here. Let's maybe give people one more minute. So anyway, like I was saying, if this is your first tutorial with me for breathing, or if you've not reviewed the other breathing techniques, then you can watch this, it's fine. You can even try it out, but I wouldn't start practicing it on a regular basis without going back and checking out the other tutorials, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Some people might be coming or going as we go, and that's just kind of how it is on Facebook. All right, so again, for anyone who is joining late, you do this at your own risk. I would not start doing this practice without serious experience, meaning a lot of experience doing some of the other techniques. And when I say a lot of experience, I'm talking weeks, months, or maybe even years. So we want to get to the point with these techniques, with even the most basic technique, where we're doing it without strain. There's an effortlessness there, there is a ease there, and we feel like this technique is helping us to relax more deeply. So maybe last week's last week's technique, if you practice that, where we're holding the breath, a lot of people get panicky when they're holding their breath. They start to feel very anxious. Okay, so that's a sign that you haven't mastered that stage yet. And in fact, it might be a sign that you need to go back one step. Okay, so again, our egos get involved. No, I want to do the advanced technique. No, I can do whatever it is. So I don't recommend letting the ego come in and do that. Okay, so we really want to be really honest with ourselves about where we are with our practice. So again, there needs to be an effortlessness. There needs to be a sense of relaxation and ease with all of these pranayams. So you have to go back to the one where you feel that and practice that on a regular basis. And then once that becomes effortless, easy, then maybe you take the next stage or the next step. And then at first, that's really rough. Okay, and that's okay. At first, you recognize, okay, it's really rough. So you do a little bit. You just sort of dip your toe in the water. You do a little bit. Put your training wheels on. Just start to get used to it. And then over time, you want that same sense of effortlessness. Jumping to this technique because it says advanced, and you think, well, I'm advanced, so I need to go ahead and do that. And then doing it improperly can cause a lot of problems. So I'm going to start out with a cautionary tale. I had a friend who was doing this technique. She was a yoga teacher, a very advanced level yoga teacher. She was studying with another teacher, very advanced teacher, and she picked up this practice because she thought that she needed to be advanced. And she started doing it as part of her sadhana, which means part of her daily practice. And she's normally a super sweet person, very kind, easy to laugh. It was easy to joke around with her, make her laugh. She became a completely different person doing this. And it's only when she stopped that she returned to normal. Okay, so that's another thing I'm going to say. If you start doing any of these techniques and people start saying things like, what's wrong with you? Is something wrong? Something bothering you? You're not yourself. You need to stop. Okay? So again, these are things that normally, this technique in particular, I would normally only teach this on retreat and with rather advanced students. All right, but we're in this situation and we can't really go on retreat, can't teach any other way. So I'm trusting you guys with this information. All right, so again, you do this at your own risk. Let's get into it. The first thing I'd want you to start with is breath awareness. So let's do that. Go ahead and close your eyes, sit tall, try and relax. Notice if your face or your shoulders or your body anywhere is holding unnecessary tension. Now that tension may not release, and trying to get it released when it doesn't want to will create more tension. So you're just noticing if there's tension there, and you're noticing if it wants to release. Sometimes that's all it takes, is I notice it, and I see, does it want to relax? Does it want to release? And the answer is yes. So, we might be doing this with our shoulders. We didn't even realize it. And then when I say notice if you're holding tension in your face or your shoulders, you're like, oh, why am I doing that? Oh, that feels much better. Okay? Now we begin to just feel the breath. You're not creating the breath. It was already there, or else you wouldn't be listening to this. So you're already breathing, and you're just noticing something that's already happening. And this is a very important thing in yoga, noticing what's already there, what's already happening. The breath is already coming and going, and now you're just feeling it. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to decide if it's a good breath or a bad breath. Just feeling it. Now again, if you want to dive deeper into any of these stages, go back and watch the other videos. Next, we begin 3-part breathing. This is called Dirga. So inhale, belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly pulls in toward the spine. Very deep, very slow. steady, even, no sound, no sound, no ujjayi, no sniffing at the nostrils, just no sound, completely silent. Deep 3-part inhale, deep 3-part exhale. And if you're going to focus on one, focus on the exhale. The deep inhale will take care of itself if you really get the air out of your lungs. Many people can't breathe deeply because they never fully exhale. And so they're trying to like add air on top of what they haven't yet gotten rid of. So a lot of the trick to deep breathing is you exhale completely, squeeze that air out. The inhale will take care of itself. Okay, stage 1 alternate nostril breathing. Now again, there's a whole tutorial on 3-part breathing that you can go back and watch, and there's a whole tutorial on stage 1. So stage 1, we take our thumb, ring finger, and little finger, place the pointer in the middle on the forehead, exhale, close the right nostril, inhale left side only. Close the left side, exhale right side. Inhale right side. Close right, exhale left. That's one round. Continue with that. Now, if you did the tutorial, you know that we want to get to the point where it's silent, it's smooth, there's no straining involved whatsoever, and the inhale and the exhale are the same duration. Now again, this might take months, maybe even years for you to do that. What's the rush? Okay? There's no rush. So maybe that's it for you tonight. You can try these other things, but if that sense of relaxation and ease is not there, then I'm going to say I don't think you should go ahead. You should not pick up these other techniques as a normal part of this practice. Okay, so stage 2, which is what we did last week, is with the internal hold. So the next time we exhale through the left nostril, let's inhale left side, maybe for a count, whatever your count is, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10. Hold for the same count. And then exhale for the same count. Inhale, same count. Hold for the same count. And exhale, same count. Now try a few rounds of that. And again, just see how that feels. Many people have anxiety and trauma around the breath. And so when we're holding our breath, when we are closing our nostrils at the top, then that may bring up these things. And that will also show up in our breath. Our breath will be uneven, or we'll feel like we are straining to breathe. These are all signs that there's work to be done there. And if you want to dive deeper into that, we can do a one-on-one session where we begin to explore that. But even just doing the practice will begin to work through these deep layers of the unconscious. Okay, so that is stage 2 with the internal hold. Now let's look at stage 3. And again, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to sound like a broken record. You do this at your own risk. And I do not recommend that you take this up as a regular practice if you have not mastered these other techniques. Okay? So the final stage that I'm going to call this the final stage, is ratios. Okay? So we create a 1-4-2 ratio. Okay? So very often the count that is done is 4 for the inhale, 16 on the hold, and then 8 as the exhale. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what that would look like. So again, I'm going to inhale through the left side first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I would close and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then I exhale for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I begin on the other side, okay, going all the way around. Now, I was counting relatively slowly, but you'll be surprised if you're ready for this technique and you've already maybe done some asana, especially asana like yin yoga. Maybe you start with something more active, then you do some yin, then you do these pranayams. You may already be in a very relaxed, balanced state, which makes doing these pranayams much easier. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret that you may not hear. No, you're not holding at the bottom, Deborah. It's just in the top. So it's inhale, hold, exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale. Okay? And again, the ratio is 1, 4, 2. So you could do any ratio of 1, 4, 2. I just did 4, 16, 8 because that's a very common count. But now I'm going to tell you a little secret that you may not hear because, you know, in the West, what we've done is we've tried to take yoga and extricate it from any semblance of sort of religious, sort of religiosity or, the cultural heritage from which it came. And, that's fine. It's understandable because some people might be allergic to that. They feel like they're converting to Hinduism or something like that. Yoga doesn't belong to Hinduism. Okay, both Hinduism and yoga and Sanatana Dharma and the Vedic teachings, all of that belongs to, sort of the culture of the Indus Valley, what we might call the Brahmanic culture or the Vedic culture. Okay, but a Hindu that's a religion. So you can be a Hindu and a yogi, great. But you can also be a yogi and a Christian, or a yogi and a Jew, or a yogi and a Muslim, whatever, a Buddhist. Really, those are two separate things. There's a lot of overlap because Hinduism and yoga come from the same culture. So there's going to be a lot of overlap there in terms of techniques and tools and ideas and concepts. So that's to be expected, but it doesn't mean you're a Hindu, okay? All right, so let's continue. So traditionally, this would be done with a mantra instead of a count, okay? Now, my experience with this is the mantra makes it a billion times easier. I have no idea why, but for whatever reason, it just becomes so much easier. Okay, so the mantra that I learned for this and that I recommend is Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, so how do we do this with the mantra? Well, I'm closing, again, I'm going to start on the left side, inhaling. So I close the right side. I inhale Om Namah Shivaya, right? 1. Then I close Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Open the other side. Exhale. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Then inhale. Om Namah Shivaya. Close. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Left side. Exhale. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Okay? Now I'm saying it kind of quickly. You don't necessarily want to go that fast, but again, you want to find a comfortable pace. Now again, maybe your experience is different. Maybe the count is better for you. A count can be nice because then you can add to it, right? You might start with 4, 16, 8, but then, you know, maybe later you double that or you triple that or whatever. So, you know, I can see advantages to each. And again, very often this is taught with the numbers at this, you know, at this point. Even in yogic schools and stuff, they get rid of the mantras a lot of time because, again, there's a sort of religious connotation with it. And I understand it. I get it. So, you know, if you're allergic to mantras, then forget it. Don't use that advice. Maybe if you're a Christian, you insert a Christian mantra. There are mantras in Christianity, right? There are prayers and certain things that people repeat as a mantra in Christianity. So find something that is comfortable for you to say and repeat that, you know, your Hail Marys or whatever it is that you might use. Again, a yogi and yoga is the umbrella term that I use for all of these techniques. There's nothing new in Christianity or Judaism or Islam. All of these techniques have been explored in what we call yoga. So what we find in these different religions is what they call religious practice is very often a subset of a technique that we use in yoga. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why in India and in the yoga tradition they did such a good job of documenting and figuring out basically the religious experience for human beings. What causes it, what helps deepen it, but they did it. They did a damn good job of it. And so sometimes yoga is called the science of the soul because it's very scientific. Again, you go to some religions and they only have one practice that they do. And that's just, again, one little piece of what we call yoga. And once you learn this stuff, you can recognize it. Oh, those people are using this technique. We call it this technique in yoga. Oh, they're doing a version of this other technique. So again, these are powerful tools. Again, use them at your own risk. I would be very careful. The way you would fit this into your daily routine, if you have a daily spiritual practice, is ideally you would do your postures first, your asana, so your yin or your vinyasa, whatever it is. Then you do your pranayams, right? So this is the pranayam. And then you would do your seated meditation. Again, if you want to learn seated meditation, I've got an hour-long introduction to that on my website. I'm also available for one-on-one instruction. I keep mentioning this. And, you know, right now I'm not even going to worry about the payment and stuff like that. Of course, I'm out of work like everyone else. Or not everyone else, but a lot of people. So, you know, I could use the help, but that's not my main motivation here. So if you want to learn something or dive deeper, just contact me. All right, Barb has a question. Is the mantra used only with stage 3 or can you use with 1 or 2? I imagine you can use it with 1 or 2, but I mean, I think definitely you could use it with 1 or 2. But the thing with stage 1 and 2 is very often because it's the early part, you're trying to slowly lengthen the breath. And, you know, the Om Namah Shivaya, that's almost like a 4 count, right? So like 1, 2, 3, 4, Om Namah Shivaya, right? I mean, it depends on how quickly you're doing it. So you might find that, you know, if you're not careful, you're sort of doing Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah, you know, like you're trying to lengthen it by saying it really quickly. So I hope that answers your question, Barb, but if it doesn't, you can just, you know how to get in contact with me. All right, everyone, so that's about it. You know, these are about 20 minutes each. Let me know if there are any questions. You're here on Facebook. I'm here on Facebook. You can just send me a note anytime. Again, for more info, up in the description there is the Patreon link. There's tons of practices up there at this point. We've been in social isolation now for about a month. So I've been making videos almost daily covering stuff like this. So if this is your bag, if you want to learn more yin yoga, yang yoga, vinyasa, pranayams, yoga nidra, mantra, these are all the things that we cover. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm going to be back tomorrow with what I'm calling a mini yin yoga at noon. We're going to do about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes of yin postures. I know people don't always have time to do a long practice, and that's the case for me. So I decided to sort of share what I do a lot of times, which is these shorter yin practices. All right, so I hope you'll join me for that if you have time. Namaste, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Thanks for showing up and watching this. Bye.